Welcome back to Chew on This. I'm Ray.
And I'm Deborah, and this segment's brought to you by Cheryl Barnes of Home Base Insurance. And look at this lovely person between the two of us. If you've not had the privilege of meeting Nancy Gabriel, Nancy's one of the, when you hear about someone lighting up a room when they walk
Aww.
in, to me that describes Nancy.
Oh, sweet. Thank you.
You can pay me later.
Okay. Will do.
So Nancy Gabriel is joining us, and her business is fascinating. I'm going to let her tell you about this, but just as a person, you bring so much joy and so much, the things that she makes, I want to be her neighbor.
1 mile radius, you get free food.
Okay, I might have to move just to get the free food. So anyway, I'm going to let Nancy tell you about her business, and then we'll ask a few questions.
Thank you, Deborah and Ray. I appreciate the opportunity. When you were saying that you were going to devote some time to small business, I thought I fit in because I'm small. And I'm a business owner.
Absolutely.
And my business is called Mediation Around the Table, and I am a mediator, which means I am a peacemaker or a neutral third party helping people resolve conflict. And so we communicate. I teach people, I help people listen and understand each other and resolve their conflicts. And most of my clients are divorcing or families or elder mediation, never married parents, things like that. But I've also had tremendous success with business mediation, which I love because it's people who think outside the box. Instead of going straight to an attorney and filing a lawsuit, they're going to try and come to their own resolution, and that's what I help them do.
We'll go back just for divorce, but I'm just curious with business resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that the same issues that apply to families falling apart are the same issues that?
I never thought about that, but yes, I mean, because it all boils down to communication or lack of communication or miscommunication. And what I try and do is dig a little deeper into what the intention was. And then, as a mediator, I help move them forward to get past the issues that they're holding on to and be more productive in the future. And I have met with people who are getting ready to start a business. And I do what I like to call a business prenup.
Oh.
Which is not to say...
You're getting ready to start a business. Listen to that.
Right. It's not about forming an LLC or a corporation. It's about deciding what people's jobs are and what they do best and what they don't care to do.
Kind of expectations.
Expectations, exactly. Communication again. Yeah.
So if they have a business plan and they come to you and they sort all this out and they find out that maybe it's not going to work at all. Did that ever happen?
It has happened once, actually, and I'm not going to name names.
Well, that's fine.
Mediation is confidential.
Sometimes
We're happy to hear that.
Yes.
Sometimes not allowing something to happen is in its best interest.
Right. Before it gets ugly. Because beyond everything else, and you were talking about relationships, in my opinion, and why I became a mediator in the first place is because mediation preserves relationships. And I said that slowly because I want the impact to be felt. When you go to litigation and you go to court and the judge rules or a jury rules, you have a winner and a loser. And the relationship is destroyed forever. And maybe that's a good thing.
Whenever there's a win-lose in anything.
Right.
Somebody loses.
Right.
To me, it's a lose-lose.
Right. But in mediation, I like to think it's a win-win because the people who are participating are the architects of their own resolution.
Mm-hmm.
So it's their idea, not mine.
Right.
And I just ask a lot of questions.
You ask a lot of questions.
A lot of questions.
And that's what I advocate with health, right?
Mm-hmm.
Advocate for your own health. You have to ask a lot of questions.
Right. And then you have to listen to the answers.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that there's a difference between hearing and listening. So hearing is innate.
Can you go ahead? Okay, you were going to say.
Yeah. Hearing is what you do with your ears or with a hearing aid. Listening is paying attention and focusing and making eye contact and repeating back what you thought you just heard and giving the other person an opportunity to feel validated by expressing herself or himself. That's what listening is about.
And so you just said something I think is really important is you said repeating back, because sometimes what we hear and what we think we hear is not really what the person intended.
Right. And in divorce mediation, it's an especially effective tool. I have literally had a husband and a wife switch chairs in my office, and I'll say to the husband, now I want you to speak in her voice and tell me what she just said about driving the kids to soccer. and
I
it
love
gets
that
a
idea.
laugh,
Yeah, I
you know,
love it.
and they, you know, the men will go, oh, what she said, you know, they'll raise their voice really high, but it makes them hear the other person and listen to the other person because they don't want to look like a fool, and most importantly, understand the other person, because that's the goal.
Sometimes is it better to maybe write things down while you're thinking about them? It's like going into a doctor's office and get the deer in the headlights look when you don't know what to ask the doctor. And that is, you say, oh yeah, I got some things down here. Not malice or anything else, just I was wondering.
Right, these are points, these are issues, sure. And if somebody asks you a question, Ray, if Deborah says, do you want to empty the dishwasher or fold the laundry? You don't have to pick right then and there. You can always say, I need a minute to think about it.
I like it best when he says both.
Both. But seriously, you know, we feel pressured to answer a question when it's asked of us. And I think asking for thinking time is a very viable alternative.
Silence is golden sometimes.
It's like anytime just
very.
thinking, can I get back to you on that?
Right. And silence is powerful because we're hardwired to fill the silence with noise. And so as a mediator, if I have parties at an impasse and they're not moving at all, or they've said their piece and now they're shutting up, so do I. It's really hard for me. But I'm quiet because somebody's going to fill that silence. And usually what happens is somebody gets off of their position because they want to fill the silence. And then we can roll up our sleeves and really get working again.
That's pretty smart.
Hey, thanks.
You are more than just a pretty face.
And
Did I tell you he's a flirt?
he's a flirt. Yeah, I kind of knew that about him. If you weren't here, no, never mind. Never mind. I don't want to mediate your divorce. Let's just be perfectly clear.
Not
about
going to happen.
that.
He's stuck with me.
Yeah. But you know, if you were, and I know you're not, but if somebody was to come in, I do an initial consultation at no charge, and I one of the things I love about mediation is my job is to make sure each party has an equal voice, so it's a balanced conversation.
So, for instance, because we have a good marriage, but we are human, and sometimes I get stubborn.
No.
So, you know those times when we talked about it just a minute ago, what he said is not what I heard or what I really wanted to hear? Do you have any tips for how to move past that? Because that's probably maybe a first step
Sure.
in some issues.
Sure. So first step is to repeat back what you thought you heard, because maybe you didn't hear it correctly. And that gives Ray a chance to know that he's being understood. And always
Or misunderstood.
or misunderstood. And always make eye contact.
Sometimes I can say something that's seems like it's okay on the outward appearance, but I got to tell my face that I'm supposed to be. It's in a good attitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it really isn't a good attitude.
Right.
I got to
So
smile when you're saying it.
so
or something.
words matter. Words matter.
You're wearing that? He's never said that. but I have friends who
Yeah.
to a child or to somebody else who say something like, "You're going like that?"
I had a girlfriend whose husband said to her, "You still like your hair that way?"
Or a lot of times you start a sentence of why. Why are you doing it this
Right.
way? And it's kind
Right.
of almost accusatory.
Or my favorite is the finger going, "You need to." So
I need two what?
whatever.
Two of something?
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody last night and realized that it had to pull my finger back
Yeah.
because I wasn't. It was just a fun conversation.
But you need, if you said that a different way, and I'm going to tell you, this is magical what I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
Listen,
Okay?
I'm listening.
Would you be willing? Memorize those words. Tattoo them on your forearm if you need to. Would you be willing to put away the laundry, to put down the toilet seat? It sounds so much nicer than you need to pick up your shoes.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the same thing, but it's the words that matter.
I would imagine that would work on children.
It does. It does. I've had a family mediation with a blended family with two 11-year-old daughters who were now forced to share a room. And I brought them all in my conference room, and I had the 11-year-olds voice their opinion just like they were adults, and we wrote a contract and they signed, and they were fighting over the remote control. You know,
Wow.
not a major issue, but an issue to them.
Oh yeah.
And to them, when it's your issue, it's important. Yeah.
And we can't deny that
Yeah.
or demean it.
So, in your opinion, in your years of practice, what do you see as the number one contributor to someone ending up in front of you around
Ending
your table?
a relationship. Wow. There's a lot. I don't think I could say number one. And honestly,
Like the top three?
I don't ask because Nevada doesn't have grounds for divorce. So if they want to tell me that the wife cheated on the husband, I'll hear it. But it doesn't matter to me, and that's what I say. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, let me rephrase. I wasn't really even going that direction.
Oh,
It was
oh,
more
oh,
like,
I'm sorry.
No, I
Words matter.
Words matter, right? Thinking of my friend Michelle on Sticks and Stones on another show.
Okay.
Words matter. So, communication.
Communication number one.
Right. So, are there things within the communication that break down that can lead to someone end up being in
Sure.
front of you?
Sure.
So,
okay.
yeah, we don't want to get into
Reasons why they're
right.
But the truth is, Deborah, everyone has a different style of communicating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, some people talk loudly, and it could be perceived as yelling, and some people think more, and so it could be perceived as being passive aggressive.
Or
So
scoop their face and they think they're mad. They're really not.
right. So again,
I'm thinking, but it's really, it looks like, I'm contemplating, and it looks like, what are you mad about? Nothing. It's like,
oh, why aren't you telling me? Right? Well,
Yeah.
because I'm deciding how I want to say it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that we have to dig deeper. We have to look at their different communication styles, but we have to dig deeper into what their intentions are. Because it's always about the intentions.
And you know we're out of time.
No.
It's been so nice talking to you, and it's been nice.
But
that
I'm not done
you're all
yet.
listening.
Well,
understand they'll have to come and
I
visit
will
you.
come back.
we'll
Yeah.
Well, what?
Words matter.
Words matter.
matter.
So, what would be your final thoughts that you would want to share with our audience about the importance of communication and how that can play a role in bringing more joy to the relationship?
Okay, well, I'm on a big kick about eye contact, so I'm going to leave you with that. Eye contact shows you're listening. Listening leads to understanding. Understanding leads to resolution. And eye contact is respectful, it's civil, and it's just plain good manners.
Good. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Chew on This.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Nancy, for
Thank
being
you for
with
having
us.
me.
It's
Loved
such a
it.
joy.
Loved it.
And thank you all. Thank you, Scott.